I was awkward on camera for at least 5 years until I worked this one thing out. Well, maybe there was a couple of things, but there was mainly one thing that just made a huge difference. Now, I've been doing it for 6 years on YouTube, but I feel like I've wasted that 5 years, and I don't want to waste that anymore. And I don't want you to waste that time with this getting See, I'm making mistakes and it's okay. Getting confidence in front of the camera. It is an art form, but at the same time you can learn it. And I have seen quite a few people that crush it on YouTube or on stage, and then you see the first time they did the camera, they were awful. All right. And the other thing is, it's like you have this thing that you want to share it with the world, that you want to share it from the heart, and then you turn on the camera and it just goes away. And you might, I don't know, it's gobbledygook. And I wanted to be the best I could. So I did something when I first started, and I did something that I wish I hadn't. And that's to be as professional as I could. And it wasn't me. And I want to tell you why that being professional doesn't really work. And it's interesting, 6 years ago, I did my very first video, and then I thought, oh, that's pretty awkward, I want to get better. And over those next 5 years, I tried to get better, and then I looked back and I thought, I've gotten worse. I looked back at the very first one and I thought, you know what? That's actually not bad. It's awkward, it's awful, it's whatever, but I found that I was no longer me. And even now I'm leaning into that kind of because I want to tell you something, but I've got to just step back and just let me be me. And we're up. So I want to tell you that I've got this 12-week course. And today I want to take you through just the very first step of, getting yourself onto a video and feeling okay with it. Maybe you're not going to feel okay with it, but it's the very first step. And here's the other thing. By the end of it, I just want you to do a 10-second video. I don't want you to go overboard. Some people try and go, right, I'm going to do 30 minutes on a video and go live. And it's just like, just slow down a bit. So we're only going to go small steps. And after these 12 weeks, I feel like, okay, you're going to probably need a bit more practice, but I reckon you're going to get your voice and you're going to be able to just stand in front of a camera, sit in front of a camera and find your authentic, real voice. So I would love you to join me with this, because yes, it's going to be awkward, it's going to be frustrating, it's going to be but at the same time you're going to look back and go, I'm glad I did it, because like I said, I did 5 years of doing it all wrong, and one of those things, and look, I'm reading something here and I want you to know that, because I'm not trying to do this off the cuff. And it's important that I get it the right way. So I guess I'm just peeling back the curtain a little bit, because it's okay to have some notes, to go through a script. Although I want to lean off maybe the teleprompter scripts and everything, I kind of, for me, that took me into a place that I didn't want to be. I mean, for you, it might be good, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But so yes, by the end of this video, I want to be able to say that you can record without overthinking. I was going to say or cringing at your own voice, but you still might do that. But this is just to get to a point where you can record, watch it, move on. Okay, so the first thing here, and I want to go through some practical tips just to get you started. The first thing is everybody hates themselves listening. I don't know why we assume that whenever we record our voice or we record a video, we are going to enjoy it. That doesn't happen, because we have this inner voice that we hear because we're us. We're hearing our head and all the other things. And so when we hear a video, apart from the fact that it's not totally reality and it compresses it and all the rest, it's still not, even if it did do that, it still wouldn't get our real voice, because that's what we hear and the camera can't reproduce that. Even your friend doesn't hear what you're hearing. So everyone hates hearing themselves. And just to bring the point home, David Bowie, Barbra Streisand, they hated hearing themselves sing. Johnny Depp actually says himself that he never watches his own movies because he hates to see and hear himself. I mean, these aren't even himself. They're fictitious, I'm going to go with that, characters. And so they're not even him. Yet he still cringes because he feels that they're just cringeworthy. If they think that, what chance do you and I have? So it's not going to happen. I mean, I think you get used to it. Like, I'm used to my voice and whatever. But you're not going to think it's great. You're just going to get used to it. And that's probably where I want you to get to. But again, you don't have to like your own voice. You just got to know your story and want to be able to share it. Now, I want to emphasize there are two different skills. There is your real voice, which is, excuse me, how we talk. Like you're talking with a friend at a coffee shop. That's your real voice, and that's what you want to be. You want to have that right now. Like, I'm pretending right now that we're in a coffee shop and we're just having a bit of a chat, you know? That is your authentic voice. But for some reason in front of a camera, it changes. And I don't know why exactly, but I think we kind of feel like when we're talking in a coffee, we're not even thinking. But when we're in front of a camera, we get the little red symbol on there and everything, and we think, this is going to be remembered in posterity. Prosperity. My goodness, I can't say words. Forever. And so if we don't get it right, there's going to be history books with our awkwardness on it. I don't think it's going to happen with YouTube. Maybe it might be in a museum in 100 years' time, the YouTube museum. Who knows? But don't overthink it. But I just want to separate the two things. Camera confidence is not how you talk. Camera confidence is being okay with the camera in front of you. It's on. And you don't care, or you probably don't even remember that it's there. You're just talking to an imaginary friend. Well, that sounds weird just saying it like that. But you just got to remember that cringe is okay. Okay? It's you. And don't think for one moment that I'm saying that cringe is you and that you're cringy worthy. What you don't get is that your cringe is fantastic to someone else. Like I'm just trying to think of someone famous that's cringeworthy. Doesn't matter. But if you think about a friend of yours and they tell you, "Oh my goodness, I just sound so cringy," and you're thinking, "No, that kind of makes you you. It's kind of actually quite cool." So lean into the cringe, okay? What's the one other one here? So yeah. Just make sure you separate the authenticity, and speaking clearly, apart from the camera. The camera is just there to record only. We are not trying to be professional, because I find that if we try and be professional, I don't know about you, but when I see professional in ads or on TV, you know that there's something not real, and they're kind of leaning into the unreal. But when you're telling a story on YouTube, or even just putting together Lego and you're just chatting about it and your experiences, you're putting together, I don't know, Star Wars Lego, and you want to go, "Oh, when I was a kid, I watched that movie," and you just want to share it. Don't try and be a professional and make it sound like, "Hey, I can do this," because people see straight through that. I look at ads and they're really professional. I see straight through it. When someone is authentic and cringeworthy and themselves, if they do an ad, I probably don't even know it's an ad. That's a cool thing. Probably a dangerous thing too, if my wallet has anything to do with it. But also, by the end of this, I want you to do a small, no pressure, record 30 seconds daily. And I don't want you to invent anything. I just want you to have a simple thing to introduce yourself. You can even talk to your pets if you want. Because, I've got 2 dogs behind me. Oh, you can just see one here. Leave sleeping dogs lie. Well, we'll leave them sleep. But you can grab them, you can talk to them, and you say, "Hey, my name's Craig, and I have Rush Factor, where I am helping people over 40 achieve their goals or getting onto YouTube so they can be confident on camera." That's it. You don't have to, I could say that way better if I did it a second, a third time. Maybe just do that once a day for the next week. And then next week, we're going to go on to a next step. And I want to just leave you with a story that I think just kind of drills this home a bit. 20 years ago, I was working for a company. I won't go into all the details, but I had a bad manager for about a year or so. And then I had a good manager for a couple of 2 or 3 years. At the end of 3 years, the company unfortunately was folding. Everybody was moving out. It was just folding. I won't go into that. But my whole point is that my job was to get people long-term unemployed into work. We had an objective, or what some people call KPIs, or key performance indicators. And every time I hear that word, I shudder. But everybody had to get 12, or the consultants, like I was one, had to get at least 12 people into work every single month. I struggled. It just wasn't me. I even had someone once say, why are you even doing this job? Your personality just doesn't quite fit. And I was getting, if I was lucky, I was getting 6, I was getting 8 people into work. But that was it. And at the end of the time, the good manager pulled me aside and he kind of peeled the curtain back a little bit. Mainly probably because we were folding and everybody was going their separate ways and nobody really cared so much. But the good manager, he said, I've got a letter here in the filing cabinet that I found from the bad manager that said she was trying to work out a way to get rid of me because I just wasn't performing. Now, with my good manager, it was pretty much the same. I was performing the same. I was doing the same. I was supported by him a lot more, but I was still struggling. And he said, I just want to tell you something that we found that we can't explain. And I thought, what? He said, admin have been crunching the numbers over the last 3 years. And you probably don't know, but the whole objective was to get not just people into work, but they had to stay there for at least 6 months. Otherwise, it was no point. I mean, if you got someone into work, great, but you had to get them there for 6 months or more, or it didn't count. And he said, out of all the other consultants, and I mean, there was about 26 people in the whole place, but there was only about 10 consultants, or 8 or 10. And he said, over those 3 years, you have gotten more people into long-term 6 months or more work than any other consultant they put together. And I thought, what? And he said it again. He said, the fact is, these people, these other consultants, sure, they got people into work, but they were falling out of work just as quickly. For some reason, my awkwardness, whatever I was doing, I wasn't doing very well. But the people that were coming to me got into long-term work way more than all the other consultants that were getting what their KPIs, they were meeting it all the time, exceeding it. And I just want to say, if I had tried to be something that I was not, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I was awkward. Yes, I cared, but I was unpolished. I was not fit for the right job. But if I had tried to be something else, tried to be what they wanted me to be, even if I got the KPIs, I probably would have been like them and not got the people into work for long term. So you don't have to be perfect. You just need to be you. And so I want to challenge you that just to record a 30-second, it can be 20-second, 10-second, just, hi, my name's Craig. That could be it. Just try that for a week. Just don't script it, or you could. I mean, you can script it. You can write it out and say, my name is Craig, and you go, okay, I don't really need to script that, but you could say, hi, I'm Robert, and I love Star Wars Lego. Then watch it, let yourself cringe, but then let it go. Don't have to watch it again. It really does help if you do watch it, but you don't have to. But I have found the more I watch, the more I learn, the more I improve. So the goal is to start to embrace your voice and to ignore the camera or the phone. It doesn't have to be a camera. The phone is the same thing. So remember, your real voice is already good enough. You've already got that voice. It's just the camera. That's the only thing you need to change. And eventually you forget the camera's there, or you don't care, and you just go for your authentic voice. And that's really what we are going for. So, where are we? So next week, I want to tackle this big cringe head on. Hearing your own voice on playback, trying to record it and without wanting to run for the hills is probably a good thing. But I want to share with you one mindset that will make, actually enjoying hearing yourself on camera. And yes, it is possible. So let me know in the comments the weirdest thing about hearing your own voice. I mean, what is it about your voice that you just cringe? Or is it just awkward? Or do you, and I want to even go through that in this 12-week course about why we and ah. I can't remember if I have or ahed in this, so it might be interesting to look back at that. So hit subscribe if you're ready for a 12-week simple, over the 40s friendly, like over the 40-year-olds friendly camera confidence tips. I'm not trying to go nuts with this. What are we? 20 minutes. Okay. Because I want to get you onto YouTube because you have a story that is worth telling. So let's get into it, and I'll see you next week for week 2 of this camera confidence course. That I want to keep it light and little steps. That's why it's 12 weeks. Sometimes everybody just puts too much into it, and you think, I've got to do this. So small steps, 10 seconds. Just let me know in the comments if you've done it. Don't have to show it. So I would love to know. Go do something awesome. Let's get into this.